How you do? Cousins, I'm Rusty, I'm a reseller, and today's video is all about some craziness in the eBay world. Folks, I have had not one, not two, but 3 different situations happen this week alone that has required me to be on the phone with eBay. Crazy situations that I have never encountered. Frustrating, aggravating situations, and I've been selling on this platform for 22 years. And these 3 things are all new to me as far as these particular scenarios. So I'm going to tell you what happened as cautionary tales. Some of these might be good, some might be bad. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but it was frustrating nonetheless. I'm going to tell you what happened, how I dealt with it, and what the conclusion was. You can decide for yourself if it would be okay with you the way that this ended. And then towards the end of this video, I'm going to talk to you about the way that I approach contacting and discussing things with eBay representatives that I have found to be the most helpful when I'm trying to get things done. Let's hit it. On one of our recent videos, folks, I showed you an antique painting that I purchased with the intention of restoring. It had some chips that had fallen off of paint, chips of paint. It was crackled. It had, it looked like it desperately needed a cleaning. And I found this thing on eBay. I paid about 45 American dollars for it. I purchased it from someone in England. All right, so I don't purchase things from overseas all that often, but sometimes for the right price I will. So anyhow, I purchased this. When it arrived, I did some inspections, and I showed it on one of the last couple of videos and talked about my intentions. Well, after that video, and I had some time to really spend on it, I pulled it out of the frame and I started to inspect it and realized very quickly that there was some damage and some issues with this which was not described in the person's listing. Now, to their credit, they did realize that this was in poor condition, hence the price. They also wrote on there that this was for restoration or things like that if you wanted. And so that's why I got it. They talked about paint chips, this and that. There's some issues with the frame. All that was true, but based on the photographs and the description, I was prepared to do the work. Now here was the problem. I wanted to clean this thing and actually do restoration work on the painting itself, which is on a panel board, just on wood, not on canvas. And when I started looking at it, I realized that what I had originally thought based on the photographs was likely a heavily discolored and aged varnish, which I know how to remove. No, it was not that. Someone instead had actually taken basically like a jar of, I'm guessing like Elmer's glue or something like that, something that's like a semi-translucent brownish orangish color, and they had painted over the entire painting with glue or something very similar to glue, basically glue. All right, it's old and it is hard. I took a tiny little Q-tip and I went to the very corner of the piece with a solvent to see if there was anything I could do, and it didn't touch it, folks. It could not remove it. So I promptly got on and explained the situation. Hello, seller. You sold me this painting. I have received it. I have inspected. It does indeed have significant damage as described. However, you failed to mention that it had glue all over the top of it, which actually thwarts any efforts I would have to perform restoration work on it, because if I cannot eat away at the coating that's protecting the painting, then there is no way that I can actually access the painting to do the work I need to do. Any sort of acidic concoction that could eat through this glue would also damage and eat into the paint itself. Therefore, it was basically very, very difficult, if not darn near impossible, outside of maybe someone who does restoration work for museums professionally to actually fix. So I am nicely as possible, I explain, hey, you didn't explain this. I'm not even saying that you knew about it. Maybe you didn't know. I'm not angry at you, but I would like to return this because it is actually not described correctly. Had I known that it had a layer of glue on the top of it, I would have known that I would not be able to do the work to restore it that I wanted to do. And this is where it took a turn. The person responded fairly promptly. However, their response was very curt, very short, and not real kind, frankly. They just said, it is damaged. I said as much. Therefore, I will not be accepting a return, nor will I be giving you a refund. End of story. To which I reply back, well, I immediately at that point, since they were not going to work with me, even communication-wise, I opened a return case saying that it was not as described. I took close-up photographs of the painting, and I even put little arrows directed towards specific spots and close-up spots of where you can clearly see thick glue residue hardened in globs on the top of this painting. I will, in a moment, I will actually show you because I still have it. I sent these. The seller responded with a very long paragraph about, oh, well, they've used different types of adhesives in the past. Sometimes they use glue, different things. You should know this. If you didn't know how to deal with it, you shouldn't have bought it in the first place. This kind of stuff. Wow. All right. Back and forth. I was trying to keep my cool, be kind, and just tell them, state again, I'm not angry with you. I simply believe that you maybe unintentionally misrepresented this item, and I would like a refund. And so it went back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then the seller contacts me and says, I've opened up my own case. I've asked eBay to step in. There's no way you're getting anything from me. All right. How did this conclude, you may ask? Well, I'll tell you. The very next day, I got an email from eBay saying, you have been refunded your money. Sorry. It was not as described as you had indicated. And so now I have this painting. I've got all my money back. I got nothing in it. So this was a victory for me. If you get something that is damaged and is not as it was described, you should give a full detailed description. You should take photographs, and don't be afraid to contact eBay as well and talk with them and tell them your side of the story and ask them for guidance. Make your own notes so that you have documentation of what they told you. That's going to come into play in a moment on the next story. But what we have now is a painting. I don't worry about being aggressive and using aggressive chemicals to try to remove this layer, because if I end up not being able to do it and I can't restore it like I want, at least I was not out any money. So I'm in a good position here now. Thank goodness this ended up in my favor. Here is the infamous painting. You can see the staining on that. It's horrible, folks. Do you see this right here, this line? It's super dark, almost looks like tea or coffee had been spilled on it, but no, that is like a glue substance that has been spilled on this and very crudely wiped, and it's just it covers the whole thing. I thought it was varnish, folks. It's not. It's going to be very difficult. I don't quite know if I'll be able to do it yet. I'll do my best, folks. When I do, I'll hit you up. Not quite sure what I'm going to be able to do with it yet, but I'll get into it and I'll try to keep you updated. I really still hope I can save this thing. I just don't know if the products available to me are going to get the job done. But, here's hoping. All right, so another crazy story has to do with an item that I sold 2 months ago. We're talking about what they call a banjolin, which is like... You know what a banjo looks like. So imagine a mandolin, which is small, but imagine it looks like a banjo. It has a resonator, a neck, but it's tuned like a mandolin, and it has 4 pairs of 2 strings each. So the same setup string-wise and tuning-wise as a mandolin, and the same size as a mandolin, but the construction of it is a banjo. It's made by the Gibson Company. It was from 1927. I bought this at an estate sale, and I have another video where I show it. I sold this item at the end of March, okay, and here we are, middle of May here. So we're at about 45 days or so. I have a 30-day return window, so if people want to return something within 30 days, I accept those returns unless there's something foul play going on. So this individual purchased this in California, right, and I'm in North Carolina, so I shipped this item all the way across the country. After the first week, the person contacted me and said, this has not been delivered yet. What's the problem? And so I look at the tracking because I buy my label through eBay. There's the tracking number. It was UPS. And I see that it has been shipped, but it has not been delivered. And it says that it was attempted, but the person was not available or wasn't there. And I respond back. I said, well, you either weren't there or something. He goes, oh, okay, well, I'll just reach out and have them redelivered, or I'll go pick it up. And I say, okay, let me know. All right, that's been 45 days ago. I've actually sold hundreds of items since that item has sold. I didn't think twice about it. I just thought he got it. You know, he never contacted me again. Okay, here we are today. All of what I'm about to tell you happened today. So I get a message from this person saying, hey, I've been sick and I had some things happen and I still haven't got the instrument. Can you tell me what I need to do? I'm like, holy goodness, are you serious, sir? It's been a month and a half. So I get on, I search, I find the item, I look at the order details, and I'm looking at the tracking history here, and there's probably 30 or 40 different items where people have scanned it, tried to deliver it, wasn't able to be delivered. This person contacted us and said they wanted to have it change the delivery location, which I don't know if it meant like another location or if that just meant he was going to come and pick it up from their hub or one of their sites. And so all of this stuff, it's going all the way through. And then at some point, I guess UPS just said, well, this person's not going to get this item. They printed a return to sender label, and I discover that it had hit the town right next to mine yesterday. So this person waited multiple attempts to try to get this item to that individual. Couldn't do it. That person had scheduled to try to come get it multiple times. Never showed up. This has been in that person's zip code for over 30 days in their town. They just didn't go get it. And so, my goodness, folks. So I find out that it arrived in town yesterday. So I swing by the UPS store in my town. I talk to them, and they say, yeah, that's super fishy. We don't know what's going on. Usually they'll only hold it for about 10 days, and then they send it back. I'm like, man, it's been over a month and a half. What? And I said, well, it should be delivered maybe by tomorrow. I get on to start making this video, and what happens? A UPS truck arrives in the drive here at the warehouse. And I go out, sure enough, it's the package. And let me show it to you. It's right here. Look at this thing. They did a return to sender label. I've not even pulled it out. I cut open the tape. You can see that here is the replacement skin that would go over the resonator, which I purchased. I put it here. I had wrapped it up in bubble wrap there. All this, and if I go down, sure enough, underneath all of this paper and all of this bubble wrap and everything, you can see the case. Get out of my way here, paper. Okay, see this? Here it is. It's the case. Now, if I go ahead and pull everything here out, because if I end up having to do something with this, I'll obviously need to inspect it. But let's take a look here. So I've done a video on this before. When I bought it, I showed it. We sold it. I told you that I sold it on a video. Ooh. All right, don't want to pull off all this. This is a deteriorating old case. It's the original case. What do we have to look at here? All right, so it is intact, as you can see right there, Gibson. I shipped it without strings because I did not want there to be any sort of break or anything like that string-wise. And here it is. Here's the resonator. The skin would go over it right like this. Underneath it here in the plastic baggie, I can see the plastic baggie sticking out. It's still the float and bridge. My goodness. Now, what I haven't told you yet is that between when this buyer contacted me and when I went to UPS to track it, and even between that and when this package actually arrived back to me, I actually called eBay. It was the second time I've been on the phone with eBay today. The other time, I'm going to tell you that story in just a minute, because that's the most aggravating one of all of them. But I called eBay and I explained this situation, which I have just done to you. This item sold, it went there, they didn't get it, it shipped it back to me. But now the person's contacting me saying, hey, I want my item. Odd that they would contact me literally the day that it was arriving back into my possession. What's going on here? This is fishy. So I talked to eBay. This is what eBay tells me. This eBay representative, very nice, says, you don't have to worry about anything. This is way outside of your 30-day return window. They were multiple attempts to get this package to them by the carrier. They made attempts to get it, didn't get it, and you are not obligated to do anything. You are protected by our seller protection program. You would not be required to return this item to the person, even if they opened up a case. So I said, if that may be true, I hope it is, but could they still open up a case claiming that the item never arrived, it was never received? This was not a situation where they declined. It was like declined to accept it officially. They just never picked it up. And the lady said, well, yes, they can open a case. However, that case would be closed in your favor. But see, here's the problem. If they open up a case, what's going to happen? Instantly, my funds, equivalent amount of funds that this item cost the buyer, that they paid for it, will be on hold. Meaning until this is sorted out and that case is closed, all that money, let's say it was, I don't remember how much, I'll have to go back and look at it, but let's say it was $800. If they open up a case immediately, $800 that could have come in from other sales I'm currently doing is all on hold and not available for payout to me until this is handled. There's also a period of time that these cases are opened where they either need to get resolved between buyer and seller, or eBay steps in and resolve them, but it can be like a week or more. So I'm going to have to contact this person potentially and tell them, I have your item. Why in the world did you never pick it up? What the eBay person said to me is that I am under no obligation to do anything. I can keep this item, but if I choose to ship it back to the person, I can. But if I want to, I could require them to pay for the shipping. So my question to you is, what would you do in this situation? This person's asking for their item. They didn't pick it up. Should I, A, completely ignore them and not respond to their messages? B, should I respond and say, I have your item, but I'm not going to ship it back to you unless you pay me? Should I even offer that? Should I go ahead and try to sell this item to somebody else? I have their money, and I have their item, but they live on the other side of the country. So it's a very bizarre situation. I think they could open a case. If I say, hey, I got your item, but I'm not sending it back, I almost guarantee you they will open up a case. And if they open up a case, my funds are on hold. I'm the one who has, I'm going to immediately be suffering a consequence by not getting money, even though I did everything I was supposed to do. I did nothing wrong here, right? So really strange situation. I have this item. I don't know what to do with it. Do I hold on to it? Do I try to sell it? Very difficult. Why in the world did they not pick it up? Why did they contact me on the day that it came back to me after a month and a half? Super strange. So if anybody out there has encountered this, or you have an idea of how I can navigate this once inevitably there is a case opened because they never received their item, I would definitely love to hear it. This story is aggravating to me, even to tell you. So please be patient and bear with me as I relay this information to you. After this is the last of the 3 issues I've dealt with this week. I'll tell you my advice on how to promptly get to someone in eBay to have your questions answered if you end up involved in some sort of a dispute or a case. So this is the situation. I sold a piece of equipment that is for polishing minerals and rocks. It was a large, heavy piece of equipment. It's something that I got in. I opened the box, but I never pulled it out and I never used it. I turned around and sold it. So this would be considered a new item in box, okay? So I shipped this item. It was worth about $1,300, about $1,400. So it was an expensive piece of equipment. Sorry, I dropped something there. It was an expensive piece of equipment. And of course, it was somebody way far away. I'm in North Carolina. This person was in Oregon. All right. So on the West Coast again. I shipped this item to them. It arrives and they say, hey, we love the item. Thanks. But there's a problem. This item is damaged. I'm like, whoa, what happened? This was damaged in transit during shipping. Oh no. Well, all right. Tell me about it. So it wasn't the machine itself, but it was some of the accessory components that come with it. Namely, some little plastic trays and some stuff that go with it, that hold water and stuff like that. And then also there was a small crack, I guess, on a component that plastic cover on some part of the face of it. So this person, I offered to give a partial refund. They didn't think that was enough. They didn't want that. They wanted the machine. They did not want to return it because it's expensive and heavy and all of that. And packaging would be difficult. And so we went back and forth. I was like, well, I'm open to ideas. I want to make this right. It wasn't my fault that it was damaged, but I'll do what I can. They also didn't want me to like mess with a claim on you know the package or the carrier that it had been damaged when it was in their care. So what I offered was maybe I could get you some replacement parts. I'm not the manufacturer, but I could contact the manufacturer and see if I can get those. And they said, okay. So they sent me photographs of the damaged three components. They sent me pictures of each of those components. I contact the manufacturer through email. And I leave my phone number. They called me back within 48 hours. I provided them photographs of the damaged components and said, I would like to purchase replacement parts for these, please. And they said, we'll look into it. And the good news was they had those components. They would sell them to me. I purchased those components from them and they shipped them to me. They arrived in my care within about 4 days from me purchasing them. I took the packing slip to make sure that the items were correct, and then I immediately paid and had it shipped to the buyer. So, in summary, we decided to resolve the issue not through a return or an open case, but through me doing some legwork and paying to have some new parts sent to them to replace the ones that were damaged. Then early this week, the person contacts me again and says, I have received your items. However, one of the 3 components still is not what I need. And this is where it got crazy. The person started getting really aggressive in their communication to me and making several threats. I'm going to get my lawyer involved. I'm going to put out something on you and you're going to have to show up to the courthouse here in Oregon. So just get ready for me to make your life difficult. Like this kind of stuff, folks. And I'm like, whoa, calm down. I'm sorry that this happened. Can you please, I don't know what you're talking about, which part, so can you send me photographs? I again offered to give them a small, like partial refund that would more than cover the cost of that part or the part that they were saying that they still needed. And they did not want that. And they were very upset. What, you need to make this right. I'm just going to send this back. And I'm like, sir, I do not want to accept this. It's been a month, so it was at the end of my return window. I've been working with you tirelessly to resolve the problem in the way that you agreed and wanted, which was to get these replacement parts. And I said, I'm not going to be accepting a return on this because I'm willing to help you and I've been helping you and I've already put more money into this assistance. Well, within an hour of a couple of back and forths, this buyer gave me a negative review and also opened up a case saying that the item came to him not as described. All right, so as soon as this person started making threats, I called eBay. and I wanted to talk with them. This is before they left me the negative review, and this is before they opened a case, because I knew it was just going this direction, folks. I could just feel it. All these red flags going up here. I was like, what is happening? So I speak with a lady, again, being very nice. They operate off this script. Oh, hello. Hey, we see you've been with eBay for 22 years. Thank you for your work. Well, how can I help you? You know, they have these scripts they read off of, and I get it. So I go into all of this and I explain the situation. I said, what am I obligated to do here? Because I don't feel like I should have to return this item or accept a return on this item. It's outside of my return window at this point. Also, I have already worked to resolve the issue and put money into it and time, which is what eBay would prefer I do, as opposed to it being escalated to a case in the first place. And the worker said, you've done everything you can. Thank you for working so hard with this person to resolve the issue. You were not required to spend extra money on this, but the fact that you did shows that you're trying. And all this. You do not have to worry, sir, because you've already taken steps to resolve this issue. You've already sent them items, and it's outside your window. If they open a case, the case will be closed in your favor. There's nothing you have to worry about. And they're like, we'll open up this case. I'm writing all these notes down. Here's a case number for you. If they happen to open up a case on you, just call eBay again, provide this case number, and then you can have that closed. No problem. All right, well, that sounds great. I want to believe them. I have no reason to doubt what they're telling me. And so we end the call. Within 10 minutes, folks, of me ending the call. I wish it had happened before I got off that call so I could have been with the same person. But I didn't. I got off. I checked my account. All of a sudden, boom, here's this negative review, which is frankly unfair, folks. If you want to leave a negative review because you have a bad experience with an eBay person, a buyer or a seller, I understand that there are situations why you need to do that. But it is not fair to do that when a case is open or when you're in the process of resolving a dispute, because things haven't ended yet. You know what I mean? And so and then they had opened a case. So I call eBay again. I get a different worker. We go through the whole thing again. I provide them the case number that the last worker had just given me. And we go through it again. Same thing, different worker, but oh, thank you so much for working hard on this. Yes, we see that you, through the communications, that you did agree to do this as the resolution. We see from the tracking number that you had uploaded for this buyer that you did ship an item, and they have basically revealed through their conversation with you that they did receive the item. So what you're saying is verified on our system, and this case should be closed in your favor. Now, again, I had $1,400 worth of my revenue. I've sold 30 or 40 items this week. All of that money is waiting to be distributed to me, but I can't get it yet because they're holding my money until this case is closed. So this was like Monday of this week. It is Thursday afternoon right now. They said, call back on Thursday. Give them this case number, tell them again what happened, and they will close the case for you. I said, whew, all right, I don't know why you're going to require me to call a third time to finish this, but fine. If that's what I got to do, I'll do it because I want this closed. I want to get my money back. I want to move on. All right, well, that's where it gets interesting. It would be so nice if that was the end of the story. I call back today, I give them the case number, and they say, all right, Rusty, as we told you, this case is now closed in your favor. But that is not what happened, folks. That's not what happened. What happened was I called in. I said, I'm calling you today because the eBay representative I spoke with earlier this week told me to call you. And here's why. Here's the case number. Check all the notes that they were feverishly jotting down as we were having our conversations. The problem with this conversation was that this person said very quickly, I'm so sorry, sir, that you were given incorrect information. What do you mean by that? The person proceeds to tell me that not the last person, but both of the eBay people I spoke with earlier this week gave me false information. She said that it didn't matter that I had tried to resolve it, didn't matter that I had spent money on items, and it didn't matter that I'd been working to resolve this situation and had come to this point, or that eBay people had told me differently, but that I was still going to be required to accept this return because they're saying that it was not as described, that the item that they got was not as described, which is not, technically, I suppose it's accurate that it was not damaged when I was selling it, and it was damaged when it arrived. But it wasn't that I misled, because it was not damaged in my possession. So we went back and forth, and I pleaded my case. I said, listen, I don't feel like it's, I have done nothing wrong. In fact, I've followed eBay's policies to the letter to try to resolve this. I've put money into it. I've both purchased items and I've paid for additional shipping for items. And this is what the buyer wanted. They did not accept my offer to refund them. They did not open up a case and offer to or want to return the item, which they could have done in the first 30 days. And also I said, and if not for that reason, the fact that your eBay representatives gave me incorrect information, told me that I would get the case ended in my favor, and also gave me guidance on things to do that I followed, that because they have messed up the process here by giving me incorrect information, that for that reason alone, I should not be required to accept this item. And the lady tried to be nice, but she got real quiet, was writing notes, basically said, there's nothing we can do. I've consulted with a manager, and this is is not gonna be closed in your favor. And I said, all right, I would like to speak with one of your managers then. And this is a key component of the story, folks. She kind of acted like it would be hard to get the person, kind of acted like there's nothing that they can do. And I know that that's not true, because I've dealt with cases in the past where I've talked with managers, and managers have the ability to open to close cases in people's favor, in certain people's, like for the buyer or the seller on their own. They do have the power to do that. And I knew that they did. So I said, well, I will wait. And they got me a manager. Now, I won't rehash it all over again, but I went through the whole thing again. And they required me to take a photograph of the shipping receipt of the items I sent them to replace the broken items. I still had it. I photographed it. I put it on the computer. I got it into their hand, the eBay person's hands. They wrote all this documentation, and they said, based on the information you're giving me, you did everything you could. You did do this. We can verify that you've done it. And so I am going to close this case in your favor. Now, it is not represented in my seller hub right now. The little indication that said that there are open cases has gone away. That's nice. But when I go to the funds that are on hold, they're still on hold. And I don't know how long till those will be released, because I got money waiting to come in. But at least they did. It took me 1 hour and 27 minutes today that I was on the phone for that issue. And then I've been on the phone for the last story's issue as well. It's looking like that out of all 3 of these cases, I'm going to win. I got my money back from the painting that was damaged. I've received an instrument that I was already paid for. It sounds like I'm not having to send it back unless I just choose to do so. And it's looking like I'm not going to have to accept a return on an item which was damaged through the carrier and for which I had already worked to resolve. Whew. What a day, folks. This is eating up so much of my time, and it's fine. I wanted to provide this for you in case you go through things like this. Don't cry for me. I mean, this is part of the job. You know that you're going to, sometimes people try to scam you. Sometimes people are belligerent and hateful. Sometimes people don't pay for items when they have bought them from you. There's all kinds of stuff, folks. But let me tell you now what I recommend when you're talking with customer service at eBay. To me, this is not going to get you what you want, but this has been the course that I've taken on the times that things have worked out for me more often than not. First of all, it's difficult to get in touch with eBay. They do not have a phone number that the common average person can call to get assistance anymore. What you have to do is you have to go into the help section in eBay, and you have to kind of click through different scenarios of topics or genres of ideas of things that you're wanting to talk with them about. What you're trying to do, what you should try to do, this is my advice, is if you want to go through the rabbit hole of the actual item, topic that you're needing to talk with them about, you can do that. But if it ends up being a certain topic, they may not offer to chat with you about it. They're just going to refer you to certain articles that they have written on subjects, hoping that information will be enough. But this is what you do. You need to click on those until you get to a point in time where one of the options for you is to chat with an automated assistant. It'll say, chat with our automated assistant right now. That's what you're looking for, folks. So you click on that. Now, if you want to chat with an automated assistant, be my guest, but I don't do it. This is what I do. I get on when the little window in the bottom right pops up for you to chat. This is what I put in the text, into the little place you write in. I write, call me, and I hit return. When you write call me in the automated assistant, it makes a prompt and it says, would you like us to call you? And the wait time is 1 minute or 2 minutes. And you say, yes. And then they just have to verify your phone number. And within a minute, an eBay representative is on the phone with you. No long hold times, no searching for the phone number, yada, yada. And I discovered today on my mobile app, on the eBay app, it's even faster than on the desktop. I just click help. I click a button or two. I scroll all the way to the bottom of the page and it says, still need help? Yes. Chat with an automated assistant. Call me. And then they call me. All right. So that's how you get there quickly. That's how you get in touch with the eBay representative that you want to talk with. Now, you don't know what part of the world this person is from. The person I spoke with today for an hour and 27 minutes, it was 10:30 at night where they live. I don't know where it is, but they told me it was 10:30 a.m. where I am. So they're on the other side of the world from me. Okay. And when you talk with more than one person, you have to go through the same information again entirely. Do not assume that they have read notes. Don't assume that the notes that were written, if they were written, first of all, and if they were written, you don't know if they're accurate. You don't know if they wrote down exactly what you said. You don't know. So tell them the whole story. You're going to ask them to write notes. Find out who the person is you're talking to, and if they have an employee number or a case number or something, if they can give you something that you can refer to, get that from them and write it down. All right. So that's how you get to them. You start talking with them, and you have to understand that the first, I would say, level of customer service worker does not have the authority to make decisions on your behalf. They don't. They're working off of scripts. They're running through a system of troubleshooting and help. They can give you information. They can send requests for things to some other department, like we request for this comment to be removed, or we're going to request that this case be closed, but they don't make those decisions. Okay, they're really sort of like a gatekeeper, frankly. And so if you talk with a person and they don't give you the answer that you're looking for, or if, say, you talk with somebody and you find out that you're getting information that's conflicting, it's different than what the last person told you, or straight up completely, or they tell you, hey, sorry, what I'm telling you right now is true, but the last person told you incorrect things. As soon as that happens, folks, be kind. Of course, these are workers. They're just trying to live their life and do their job to the best of their ability, but kindly request to speak with someone in management. I would like to speak to one of your managers. If you ask that, they are required to try to find a manager for you. Now, I'm not going to guarantee you that they'll find you one immediately or quickly, but they are required to find one. Sometimes they can find you one quickly. Sometimes you'll be put on hold multiple times. They'll come back, hey, sorry, I'm still looking for one of those managers. Please continue to hold. And you keep holding and you keep holding. Eventually someone will pop up. In rare circumstances, maybe at times a day that are busy, they will not be able to find someone within 15, 20, or 30 minutes to talk with you. And what they'll say is, can we please have one of these managers call you? If you want to do that, go for it. I'm not telling you to not do it. But I'll tell you that in the circumstances where that was offered to me and I opted for it, I did not receive a call from any manager or anyone from eBay. I waited 48 hours and I had to do the whole call again. I had to go to another customer service person, go through the whole thing again, only to ask for a manager again, only to wait for them to get me a manager. So I would say, if they say, well, it could be another 15 or minutes or 30 minutes, or I'll have somebody call you, I would hold on. I would hold on personally, because my experience has been that they don't call you back. You might have better luck than me. And eBay, if you're listening to this, like, no offense, I'm just relaying factual experiences that I've had. So folks, I hope that helps you. That's the way you get to them quickly. That's the kind of, just, you'll know what a person can do for you in that first line of response, those first people who respond to you. But if you want to speak with someone who can listen to the nuances of your situation who you can request things directly from, those people do oftentimes have the power to make those decisions, either in your, on your behalf, either in a way that will be what you want or potentially not. But they do have the power oftentimes to make those unilateral decisions, and they don't have to wait for the system to go to the end of whatever time period that it's defaulted at. So I hope that helps you today, folks. I didn't mean for this to be a huge rant, talking head video per se, but these are this is the serious life of a reseller. It's not all roses. It's not finding great deals all the time and making hordes of money all the time. In fact, most of the time, that's not what it's about. It's hard work, and you have to deal with junk like this. So I just wanted you to know, if you have ever dealt with this, you are not alone. I've gone through the ringer with eBay the last couple of days, and it's not really eBay's fault as much as individuals' fault that are on eBay that I end up having to interact with, and that's just life, you know. So good luck to you out there. I hope you can avoid these problems. And if you want to share any of your experiences, I'm sure the other cousins would be happy to hear that. And if you have any advice for old Rusty when I'm dealing with it, I would certainly accept that as well. So I hope you have a great week. Be looking in the next couple of days, because we're going to have a big video on jewelry and awesome items that we just got in, and a few tips along the way. Take care now. Oh, also, have you gone over to the What's Sold channel yet? What's Sold? It's our sister channel. We're just showing you things that we buy and sell, what we paid, what we sold it for, and how long it took. Just straight up educational information. Please check it out. In fact, the most recent video is right there. We'll see you soon. Let's go find some treasures. Rusty, 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 how to? Rusty, 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 how to? Rusty, Rusty.